What is going on, Boston Celtics fans? Welcome into Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Allie Barefoot, and our main man, GM Brad Stevens, did come out and explain a little bit about his thought process about filling the open spot on the Boston Celtics roster, which is exactly what we're going to break down on today's show, because one of these answers might surprise you as to what they could do with that open spot. But before we do any of this, I need one thing from you guys. You guys have been nothing but faithful to Celtics Today. So why don't we bring it over to a different social media platform, huh? Why don't you go ahead and give me a follow on X if you're looking for any of the latest Celtics news. If you're looking for some fun Celtics memes, I've been told I'm pretty funny, but besides my mom, Celtics highlights as well, and you could possibly get a shout out on the next watch party, which is going to be tomorrow night versus the Brooklyn Nets. So if you give me a follow on Twitter, you know I'm part of that follow back gang, and I just want you guys to be completely in the know with everything Boston Celtics. Like how Brad Stevens has finally opened up about the C's roster, and he talked a little bit about his decision making regarding the NBA trade deadline. So before I break down what he said there, I just want to give you guys a visual of what's happened so far in this pretty busy month in the NBA. So on February 8th, they did trade Lamar Stevens for Xavier Tillman from the Memphis Grizzlies. February 9th, the day after, they did trade Delon Wright for Jaden Springer. February 12th, they evaluated Neemias Queta's contract with the Boston Celtics. And then the final roster spot to be filled is still TBD. So here's the thing. Why don't we go on ahead and talk about Neemias Queta while we're at it? Because Neemi's been playing great for the Boston Celtics here. However, I know fans of Celtics Today are big fans of Neemias Queta, but the Xavier Tillman signing makes it a little difficult to get Neemias Queta play now, since he can play as a backup big position, which is why Brad Stevens went out and got him. He could, however, still be the final addition to the C's roster, as he's currently a two-way player, and two-way players cannot play more than 50 games in the NBA, which Neemias has played 22 so far, and two-way players cannot play in the postseason if they are not signed to a full contract. So let's break down what Neemias Queta has done for the Boston Celtics this season. He's averaging about 5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds. The minute he comes in, I see the aggression down low. I see him clean the glass. About a half an assist, which is all right. 60% from the field is what you want for a guy coming off the bench. You want him to be effective when he is going to try to make some shots. You know what? Neemias Queta is so big, he draws fouls consistently as well. You guys know I've been a fan of Neemias, but Brad Stevens has been a fan of Neemias. He said flat out, Neemias is doing a good job. And you can't really ask more from a guy like that who's just coming in right off the bench, as Delon Wright, former Boston Celtics player now, used to call the bench players the stay ready group. And Neemias Queta, of course, is a part of that. Overall, my take on Neemias Queta is that he is a machine at cleaning the glass. And he provides an interior spark and interior energy, and I love his width. His body type is perfect for going up against bigger guys in the paint, whereas KP leans a little bit lankier in the paint. But unfortunately, he may just be a little inexperienced right now. I know he's had 2 years with the Sacramento Kings, but maybe inexperience in the Celtics rotation, as he hasn't really made his way into the rotation enough to build up that confidence. But overall, Brad Stevens says we're still evaluating all of our choices. So, do you think Brad Stevens, the Boston Celtics, should sign Neemias Queta? If you guys do agree, go on ahead and comment 88 down below. Give Neemias Queta some love if you guys want him to be to fill the open roster spot for the Boston Celtics. While you guys are doing that, you know I got to talk about my favorite daily fantasy sports app that I'm playing all the time. Of course, that is PrizePicks. And you guys know PrizePicks constantly has promotions going on. Well, hear this one. Right now, from February 12th to 18th, if you win just one entry every day, everyone left standing after 7 days wins a share of $3 million in free entry. So to break it down, you win once a day, you move on. If you make it all 7 days with at least one entry won, you win a share of $3 million in free entry. So once I heard that, I was like, all right, let me really break down these picks here. So they also have another promotion going on under the NBA tab on PrizePicks, Demons and Goblins. Goblins are easier picks. They don't pay as much. Demons are harder picks, but they pay a lot more. So I figured if I'm trying to win one pick a day to keep moving on for a chance to win $3 million, or at least a share of it, I'm going to go with some easier picks. So I have Brandon Miller, more than 14.5 points. And if you guys are thinking of easy shots, I'm taking Steph Curry with more than 3.5 three-pointers made. These are my prize picks, but all you guys have to do to make yours is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100, and you can watch yourself win some real money in real time. And you know what? It's just super fun to play. So let's go on ahead and break it down here. What should the Boston Celtics do with their open roster spot after the NBA trade deadline? They got rid of Lamar Stevens, Delon Wright, they picked up Xavier Tillman and Jaden Springer, but now there's still one open spot in the buyout market is still heating up pretty heavy. So, of course, we've talked about this in previous videos. If you guys want a breakdown of these three players right here, well, you can go check out that video right now. But overall, I'll just make it short and simple. These are my top three targets the Boston Celtics should go after in the buyout market if they're looking to expand their roster. Danilo Gallinari, Otto Porter Jr., and Delon Wright. These are three phenomenal players that could help the C's in numerous areas as well. But overall, I think if the Celtics aren't going to sign any of these three players, then it's definitely worth signing on Neemias Queta above all else. I think Nemi could make a huge difference for the Boston Celtics. However, like I said, it makes it a little bit difficult because now you've got Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Luke Cornett, Xavier Tillman, and Neemias Queta, where I personally think the backcourt could use just a little bit more consistency with Peyton Pritchard not hitting as nearly as many shots as he should be night in and night out. However, let's talk about those two players because they actually did enhance their backcourt a little bit when they picked up Jaden Springer. Because did you guys know Brad Stevens, the man, was actually eyeing Jaden Springer in the 2021 NBA draft, but unfortunately, the Boston Celtics didn't have a first-round pick that year because they gave it to Oklahoma so they could get back Big Al and bring him back to Boston, which we all love that move, don't get me wrong. But they didn't have a pick until the 40s in the second round, and Jaden Springer went late in the first, pick 28 to the Philadelphia 76ers. But it doesn't matter what you do for a living. If my boss comes up to me and says, Allie, you're doing a good job, we actually have been wanting you to come work here for years, you take that personally. Well, Jaden Springer heard what Brad Stevens had said about him, and he did tell reporters, and he said, look, that's definitely something that feels great to hear. He actually had this tweet right here that said, that's definitely something that's great to hear, especially coming from a place like this. It's big time. You want to be on the Boston Celtics right now if you're any player out there that's searching for a team or if you're not getting any kind of minutes. If you get traded to the Boston Celtics, you just won the sweepstakes and possibly some free hardware later in the year. But he just said it felt good to learn that Brad Stevens had been wanting Jaden Springer on the Celtics for a while. It makes you want to play harder for an organization that wants you there. And Shams of The Athletic actually did come on WEEI radio today saying the Celtics, their roster, when you think about 6-7 man deep, probably one of the more talented first six players you can come up with. I think getting Xavier Tillman at the deadline, and I'm sure along with Jaden Springer, was a solid insurance for Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics. And I completely agree with Shams here. I think that was a phenomenal move by Brad Stevens. And I'm excited to see what he does with that other open roster spot because the two picks that he did go out and get, they're great basketball players, but they are a little bit beat up right now. Xavier Tillman is still out with a knee injury. It's not sure when he's going to return. And Jaden Springer has been out with an ankle injury, although there are reports that he is revving up and he is getting ready to come back to the organization. Just a little bit of a tweak there. So it makes it a little bit scary when you pick up two players that are injured, especially since Kristaps Porzingis also just got injured a couple games ago against the Miami Heat. He's all right. He actually did give an update. He came back into the game, which we're thankful for. But this is two scares now, both against Miami Heat, where we thought Kristaps Porzingis could be out for a period of games. But KP, the unicorn that we all know and love, said, my back is fine. I got a little bit of a bump from Bam on a rebound. Nothing serious. I went to the back to make sure it was all good, warmed up again, and we're all good. So it's good to hear it from the man himself that he's feeling great, but it really makes you think that Brad Stevens needs to be critical with filling his last open spot just in case a big-time player like Kristaps, like Jaylen Brown, like any of the 6 starters go down with an injury. It could be a big deal for the Boston Celtics, which is another reason why Tillman was a solid choice to bring to the C's. He's got playoff experience. He can actually defend against Jokic and bigger bigs in the NBA, while you have Jaden Springer who can go up against the smaller guards like Steph Curry and contain your backcourt. I think those were 2 very great pickups. But what to do with that open roster spot? Like I said, I like Gallinari or I like Neemias Queta. But that's just me. What do you guys think the Boston Celtics should do with their open roster spot? Do you think they should go the buyout market? Do you think there's a specific player they've been eyeing for a while that we don't know about yet? Or do you think Neemias Queta has earned a full-time contract with the Boston Celtics? Go ahead and comment that down below. And if you guys have made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you guys so much. Be sure to tweet at me, letting me know you guys made it to the end of this video. I'll be sure to give you a follow back, maybe even a shout out on our watch party tomorrow night. But nonetheless, go follow me on Twitter or X or whatever Elon Musk wants you to call it. AR Barefoot, if you guys want some good quality Boston Celtics content.